I was sitting next to the head of pediatric intensive care. It should have been his day off. 2 days after Christmas. He should have been skiing in Vail. Instead, he was sitting with me in my daughter Jessica's hospital room. Jessica's days away from her 4th birthday, laying in the bed, all sorts of tubes connected to her, and she's not responsive. He looks at me and he says, "She's not going to make it." I look at him and I say, "What am I supposed to do? Pull the plug? Tell you to kill my daughter?" Just at that moment, alarms start sounding. Code blue people start rushing in, ready to revive her. And the doctor just waves his hand over her bed, waving them all away. He said, "It's time for her to go." We all stand surrounding her bed as her life starts to fade. I pick up Jessica one last time, and I could still feel the life in her. And then it wasn't. As I held her lifeless body, the grief was there. It was so profound. But more than that was numbness. And that numbness stayed with me for years. I couldn't feel anything anymore. And I finally started to feel that happiness again. And I knew, because I remembered Jessica's joy, and I knew that it was possible. I didn't quite know how, but I knew it was possible to get back to that joy. And I did a lot of work to get to the point where I could transform that tragedy. And I even wrote a book about it, now 17 and a half years later, called Getting to Joy, because it's not easy to be happy after something like that happens in your life. So what I have for you today are my 3 top tips for how to transform tragedy into triumph. Tip number 1, tell your story. Don't tell it over and over to the same people, boring them with it and becoming a broken record, but tell it to anyone, everyone. Get used to talking about it. Because even though it is the most difficult story you'll ever tell when you lose a child, by being able to tell it, it becomes actually a superpower that you're able to handle anything in life. Tip number 2 is laughter yoga. I love laughter yoga. I've been using it for 17 and a half years, and it's fun. All you have to do is laugh. So I'm going to invite you. I know it may feel a little uncomfortable, but just for about 10 seconds, I'm going to have you laugh with me and do some laughter yoga. So just 10 seconds. Studies have shown that even forced laughter like that leaves you feeling better than when you started. Tip number 3 for how to transform tragedy into triumph is use it as something good. Leave a legacy. And that legacy can be anything. For example, John Walsh, after the murder of his son Adam in 1981, created America's Most Wanted, which became a hit television show and put murderers behind bars. Candace Lightner, after her daughter Carrie was killed by a drunk driver, fought tirelessly to change drunk driving and eventually created Mothers Against Drunk Driving. There are many people who have done something. It can be anything. It could be with your family. It could be with your community. In my case, I started a fundraising walk in honor of my daughter, Jessica. The Jessica Fernandez Walks to Cure SMA have raised more than $1.5 million to fund research for spinal muscular atrophy. There were no treatments available when my daughter Jessica was alive. Now there are 3 FDA-approved treatments funded in part by the Jessica Fernandez Walks to Cure SMA. I'm proud that my daughter's short life wasn't cut short meaninglessly. It had meaning. The meaning is that it is saving and improving lives of others afflicted by this terrible disease. So these are my tips. Whether you're a parent, child, grandparent, tell your story. Laughter yoga. Use it for something good. Create a legacy. And if you've experienced tragedy in your life, this is how to transform tragedy into triumph. Unfortunately, tragedies happen. This is life. My daughter's gone, but her memory and her joy live on. And what has been created in her memory is continuing to save lives, continuing to improve lives, and bring more joy, and that is her legacy.